Alright, there's a couple more crazy endings to cover, and I was only tuning into the Suns vs Sixers matchup just to watch Paul's debut, but I ended up forgetting he was even in the game until down the wire. The others got all the limelight in the first half, because the Suns' defensive game plan was to go under screens until they were smart enough to adjust in the second half, and then it just turned into Tyrese taking over. He was in a nice rhythm throughout the third, but that's what was surprising about them going to Paul in the last 6 minutes, because he had the opposite of that, and Yabusele maintaining his from earlier was the only reason that two-man game even worked. The Suns' defensive pressure was better during that stretch, but I still think it was the Sixers' game to win, because they missed some decent looks, even on Paul's pull-up to force OT, and they just couldn't afford that in a game of buckets against K. At least the Sixers were better at not conceding bad matchups, but it was already too late, because he established that heater from earlier, and by then, it didn't matter who was in front of him all quarter. Unfortunately for Caleb Martin, it had to be him a lot of the times, and fortunately for Headband Book, K's heroics is just going to be able to overshadow his atrocious night. But as bad as it got for him, it still wasn't as bad as the news the Nuggets got regarding Aaron, and that's now 2 starters out during a crucial time. They just haven't found their rhythm as a team, and this just disrupts it even more, but at least the good news was that second unit finally producing for once. A lot of it did stem from Yoke either pushing the ball, kicking out on doubles, or just using him as the hub, but getting something is still better than nothing for their confidence, and the even better news was the whistle they got on top of that. The refs have been questionable league-wide, so it's not specific to them, but it was a big part of their production, and a big part of the team's comeback in the fourth, because their defense is still non-existent. It just reminded me of their first matchup, where the Raps were easily getting to the paint non-stop, and then all of a sudden, the Nuggets finally decide to play real defense down the wire for the late-game surge. I guess it's just hard for them to replicate that sense of urgency from the start, so they need to wait for it to kick in before they can pressure the ball, play hard ball denial, or fly around in the scramble, and it was that side of the ball that secured the win. Russ got the final lockup, but that miss was still as in and out as it gets, and it wouldn't have had to come to that if they just converted at the line. Just watch the tape.
Long range three.